Let's talk the cut. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk the cut. Woo!
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here in the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler vlog, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club. It is Thursday already. The week is moving along so quickly. I don't know about you all, but it's just catching me by storm. But the week is filled with activities. The week is filled with goodness. The week is filled with blessings. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying this ride. What about you all? If someone is just passing by my channel for the first time, you all do me a favor. Don't even let me have to tell them. You all tell them that this channel is about inspiration. It's about motivation. It's about challenging ourselves to show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. It's about challenging ourselves to show up better today than we did yesterday. It doesn't mean that any day has ever been a failure or a flop. It means that we're taking time to do what's called an inventory. We're doing some retrospective look at what happened in the past. We're doing some introspection, saying, hey, what's going on inside of me? Is there a nugget or something that I can take from this day that would catapult me into a better place tomorrow, a better space tomorrow, a better position tomorrow? This is all about becoming better. And better does not have to happen 5 years from now. It doesn't have to happen 10 years from now. It doesn't have to happen 2 weeks from now. But better is a mindset. As soon as you believe it, then better has already begun. As soon as you can conceive it, the journey has already gotten underway. So tell someone, come on, let's talk to Cutler. We're talking about things, real people, real issues that happen in our lives. I hope you all have been enjoying the conversation. For the past couple of conversations, we've been talking about real issues, real situations. For example, the last time we talked, and we will continue that conversation this evening, how do we find purpose? How do I know what my purpose is? How do I define purpose, period? Why do I do what I do? Why do I get up in the morning? What is significant to me? What is important to me? So that's what we're talking about. If you know someone who struggles with purpose, with trying to identify their purpose, with trying to distinguish between purpose and destiny, do me a favor. Tell them, come on, let's talk to Cutler. All right, let me do a shout out for the LTTC VIPs. That's the Let's Talk to Cutler, very important people. Of course, everybody is important, but I like the friendly banter that we have going on where people just try to jump in the chat first, and I like to shout them out. But before I do, again, if you're just joining for the first time, make sure that you subscribe. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe. You have visited enough times, and after you subscribe, do me a favor. Click on the notification bell. It lets you know whenever I've gone live, whenever I have uploaded new content, those sorts of things. All right, let me see who beat me over in the chat room this evening. Let's see who's over here. Let's take a look. Annie Cutler says, let's ride. That's what we're going to do. Annie Cutler, we're riding along this highway of life. We're going to arrive at this place. It's called Better. But guess what? We don't want to get there by ourselves. Who wants to get to the winner's circle and find that you are there by yourself? There's nobody there to celebrate you. You don't want to get there by yourself. And then let's see, Tracy Johnson says, hey, everyone, good evening. Good evening, my good friend. I hope all is well with you. I hope things are going well for you. And then let's see, coming right in a close third over in that chat, MV, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you, my good friend. I hope all is going well. Listen, y'all, let's pick up on our conversation when we were talking about how do you find purpose? I think one of the things, and I'll recap a few things, but then I definitely want to finish the conversation, because before we can talk about finding purpose, we have to know what purpose is. And your purpose, as I said the last time, it consists of the central motivating aims of your life. Purpose is the reason you get up in the morning. Purpose is why you do what you do. And when you can define why you get up, and when you can define why you do what you do, that would guide the directions of your life. You will say, I'm going to make these decisions because it affects my purpose. I'm going to make these decisions about my financial well-being. I'm going to make these decisions about my health. I'm going to make these kinds of decisions. Purpose, when you know what your purpose is, it influences your behavior. And you don't want to do anything that's contradictory to promoting your purpose in life. I realized I could have had a lot of options, but purpose influences my behavior. Purpose makes me make certain decisions. Purpose makes me act a certain way. I want to make sure that purpose can always be achieved in my life. And so while I have options in terms of how I behave, I choose behavior that is consistent with my purpose. I choose behavior that will help shape the goals of where I want to go. And then purpose offers you a sense of direction. I thought about it today. My purpose, of course, for me, it is about community, it's about family, it is about people. And when I think about community and family people, I make decisions where I can always have trust with people. My behavior is such that I can garner the respect from people. I have a sense of direction in terms of how I'm going to interact with people. So purpose is not this just amorphous thing or this vague thing that's out there, but purpose defines who you are. Ask yourself, why do I get up? Why do I do what I do? What helps me with the shifts and the changes in life? What keeps me grounded? That's what we call purpose. Purpose helps you to answer the question, who am I? Where do I belong? When do I feel the most fulfilled? So as we talked about that, as we defined what purpose is, then we took a look at how do I find purpose? Now that I know what it is, how do I find purpose? And one of the best ways to find purpose, and this is just a review from our previous conversation. It's so good to see all of you. One of the best things that we said in terms of how to find purpose was to look inside. You don't have to look anywhere else to find purpose. Look inside yourself and ask yourself, how can I be happy? And as you're answering that question, one of the things that I cautioned us against was looking at all of those thoughts that are limiting. If you come across something that limits you, replace that with something that empowers you. A lot of times people say, well, let me just look inside myself, because Cutler, if you say that I can find purpose inside of me, let me do that. Let me ask myself, how can I be happy? And a lot of people say, I could be happy only if. I could be happy, but I could be much better. But for all of those buts and however, all of those things, replace those. Those are limits. And you've got to take the limits off of who you are, and then learn how to empower yourself. So that is one of the things that you can do to find purpose. Look inside yourself. And then another thing that I talked about the last time was that you have to make sure you put purpose before your goals. I know that can sometimes seem very ironic, very paradoxical, but purpose before goals. Goals can be very short term. They can be very short in terms of tenure, but purpose is something that is a little longer. It has some meat to it, because if you only focus on short-term goals, you will feel satisfaction, yes, but it will be this fleeting sense of accomplishment, and it won't last long. You'll be on to the next thing. That is why some people lose their energy. That is why some people tire so easily, because instead of focusing on purpose, which has a longer term to it, they're looking at short-term goals. And as soon as I finish one thing, now I'm off to something else. So make sure that you put purpose before you put goals. And then another thing that I talked about was making sure that you focus on what you have. A lot of times we look at what we don't have. We say, I would be better. I could walk in purpose if only I had this, if only I had that. One of the things you've got to do is stop looking at yourself as having little. Look at yourself as having a lot. A lot of what color? I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of clothes. I don't have a lot of shoes. I don't have a lot of houses, a lot of land. Lot does not necessarily equate to tangible things. Do you have a lot of hope? Do you have a lot of peace? Do you have a lot of love? Do you have a lot of contentment? Do you have a lot of family? Do you have a lot of ambition? Take a look at what you have a lot of. And then that's when you say, I'm rich in this, I'm wealthy in that. And you'll see the beauty and the goodness all around you. You'll start focusing on what you have. And when you focus on what you have, then fear will disappear. And when fear disappears, then the thought of abundance comes up. And you won't live in the fear of wasting your time, wasting your life, and doing all those sorts of things. You will live in the thought of living in abundance. What does it matter if someone who lives next to you has $15 million and no peace? I know some of you are probably saying, well, listen, I'll take some of the $15 million. Well, listen, hands up, I will too. But the reality is this: when you start looking at what you have a lot of, you realize that you are valuable in this thing that's called creation. You're valuable in this thing that's called humanity. And you realize that you were brought to this purpose for an earth. brought to this earth rather for a purpose. So what does that mean? What does that equate to? It equates to taking ownership of your life. I think that's the last thing that we talked about, and I'll pick up from that this evening. But you've got to take ownership of your life. One of the things that I said I had to come to grips with, and this is outside of the scope of people who are victimized. And yes, there are people who are innocent. They've done nothing, and they've been victimized by what happened, what someone else did to them, pain that was inflicted upon them by other people. That does happen. Children who are caught up in situations, sometimes they're very innocent. They're innocent bystanders in life, and life just happens. But a lot of times as adults, we have to stop playing victims. And I know that's challenging for some of us this evening. We have to stop playing victims, and we have to take ownership of our lives. Many times, and this is just me being transparent, in many cases, and I shared this with you all before, in many cases, there are some bad things that have happened to me in my life, but guess what? They were related to the decisions that I made. And we don't always like to take ownership of that. Many of you know about this, about the time when I broke my foot, and then I had a subsequent ankle reconstruction. But guess what? The truth of the matter is, if I would have not climbed up on the ladder in the house by myself, placed the ladder beside a set of steps, that was a bad decision. That was a bad decision. And I had to come to grips with it, feeling sorry for myself, wishing other people would have been there, all that kind of stuff. Yes, that's true. But the bottom line is I made that decision. I'm trying to give you all a real example to help you all. Because if we can look at the bad things that have happened to us and say it was somehow connected to a decision that I made, you take ownership of your life. And when you take responsibility for finding purpose instead of blaming others, guess what? You become more and more fulfilled. More and more fulfilled. So I wanted to offer you all that. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat this evening. Are you all more, what are you feeling about purpose? Are you all defining purpose these days? It's so good to see all of you all. I'm so glad that when you come into the chat, we feel and know that we are a community. I really, really do. Let's see. Exactly. Tracy Wright, love what you have. Love, hope, peace, live in abundance. Yes, very helpful information. Thank you. I'm glad that you're enjoying that. Because a lot of times we fail to see what we are rich with. It's easy to see what you don't have. It's easy to see the glass half empty. And guess what? I want to change your perspective. Even if the glass is empty, you have to walk away saying, at least I have a glass. It's about perspective, you all. A lot of times we victimize ourselves. We feel bad for ourselves because we look at what we don't have. At least you have a glass. At least you have a glass. All right. Excuse me. I think my allergies are acting up. Can I tell you all this? I'm just going to pause for just a second. Speaking of, I was thinking my allergies were acting up. I ended up going to the drugstore today, and it's this compulsive, obsessive behavior I think I have. I don't think I'm the only one. I think my oldest brother has it as well. Went to the drugstore because I'm thinking my allergies were acting up. Can I tell y'all I walked out with almost $100 worth of stuff from the drugstore? I got all kinds of stuff. Daytime drugs, nighttime drugs. So that's why I'm wiping my nose in front of your face. So I apologize for that. But I'm going to wipe my nose and keep on talking about purpose. All right. So let's keep on going. Envy, you're right. You have stated a lot. It clarifies things. I really hope that's the case. That piece about taking ownership, we don't want to do that. And that's a hard pill to swallow. But I told you all, this channel is about inspiring us. It is about motivating us, but it is also about challenging us. Better does not come without a challenge, because it calls you to leave a space where you're comfortable. It causes you to leave a space that is familiar. And better than beckons you, it says come. It beckons you to come. Try Claritin D12. I did, Tracy, that's one of the things that I got, the Claritin D12. I got that. I told you I got almost $100 worth of things. So Claritin D12, I'll take that as soon as I finish talking to you all. But let me ask you this as well. When you're talking about purpose, you want to ask yourself, you want to think about what brings you joy. What makes you, and not just temporary happiness, but what brings you joy. You have to look back on your life and identify the times when you felt the most joy. Was it when you were connecting with a certain person? Was it perhaps when you were making a successful presentation at work? Was it when you were creating something or helping somebody? When you discover what brings you joy, you usually discover where your passion lies. You have to learn how to connect with joy. Look back over your life and say, when have I been the most fulfilled? What was I doing at the time? I guarantee you, your passion was connected to that moment. And we have to learn to capture and catch the moments in our life. Life gives us moments. Don't ignore them. Life gives us moments. Make sure that you don't ignore them. Another tip that I would offer us in terms of trying to find purpose, discover what your true needs are. What is it that you need? Some people don't even know where to start. And I would tell you this, if you fall into this category, because I've talked to several people who said, I just wish I knew what my purpose was. I don't know what my purpose is. When you don't know what your purpose is and you don't know where to start, just ask yourself, what is it that I need in life? Because fulfillment begins with your innermost needs. What is it that you need? Do you need certainty out of life? Do you need to feel significant? Do you have a great need for growing and connecting? Do you have a great need for making a contribution into somebody else's life? All of these things can affect the decisions that you make every day. So from your innermost needs, when you begin to fulfill those needs, that's what you're passionate about. I want to be certain in life. I strive to have certainty. I want to make the world better than it was when I came here. So then I want to make a contribution. I strive to do that. So the thing that you need helps to define what can fulfill you. I know that's strange thinking, but consider your greatest need, and your desire to fill that need helps you define purpose. If you have a strong need to be loved and connect with people, then you will make decisions, and your behavior, all of that will undergird your need. So think about your innermost needs. I'm looking at what some of you ought to put in. I think these are great things. Let's see. Helping others, helping feed people on Thanksgiving. I need to do that again. Family and helping others brings me joy. For a lot of us, our purpose really is connected to people. Our purpose is connected to people, and we ignore that. Why do we ignore that so much, Cutler? Because people can be fickle, and we know that. And we have one or two instances where I was walking in purpose, trying to fulfill purpose. And as I was trying to fulfill purpose, so-and-so made it so difficult for me until I wanted to give up on that. You know what? I'm just going to put it this way. Give up on him or her, but don't give up on you. Don't ever give up on you. Don't ever give up on your purpose. Don't ever give up on the fact that you're walking toward destiny. You're walking to get to a space that's called better. Give up on this sounds contradictory to what I've said a lot of times, but I'm saying it for the sake of making sure that you don't give up on you. If you give up on others, make sure you don't give up on yourself. And when I say give up on others, I don't mean people in general, but sometimes that particular and I've said this, that particular person may not fit the foundation. They may not be able to lay the brick on the foundation that you're trying to build. So guess what? You get the chance to eject that brick from your foundation. Other bricks will come. What else would I suggest? Learn how to write out your story. That will help you define purpose. A lot of times we don't want to do that because Cutler means I got to take up the pen, I got to get the keyboard, I got to get a something and write down. But I'm telling you all, writing helps you to organize your thoughts. It is a known fact. It is proven that writing helps you to reach your goals. It improves your memory. It decreases your stress. And a lot of times people don't like to write. Write if you only write on a Post-it note. Write. I don't like to write. Write down stuff. Well, can I just do it on, or can I do it on my phone? Can I do it on my iPad? Can I do it on my computer? Well, yeah, you can. But there's nothing like good old-fashioned writing. Ask our friend, Miss Evelyn, who's 100 years old and continues to watch this show. She watches sometimes with her daughter, Paula. By the way, hello, Miss Evelyn. I hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. Paula, please tell her I said hi. Learn how to write out your story. I promise you, when you write, it will help you reach your goals because you're putting it before you every day. That is why a scripture says, write the vision and make it plain. I don't care what you write it on. Write it on a Post-it and stick it in a mirror. It'll remind you why you got up that morning. It will remind you why you're doing what you do. It will remind you to stay focused. It reminds you how to rise above the fray and the small stuff. It reminds you that the small things don't matter. It will remind you not to let people get on your nerves as much. It will remind you not to cuss folk out. It will remind you not to flip people the bird in traffic because I'm in purpose. Write out your story. And you write it before anybody else try to write it for you. And if you don't know what to write, putting your life in writing sometimes will reveal hidden meanings. Try writing. Just try writing. You all are laughing when I said writing things down will help you not to cuss people out and not to let folk get on your nerve. It will. You know, these thoughts come to me. You know, I don't cuss you because I remember what I wrote. I won't disrespect you because I remember what I wrote. Yeah, when I remember what I wrote this morning, it guides how I behave and how I conduct myself throughout the day. Some of us need to start writing a lot more. I might need to get Post-it notes and send to a whole lot of you so that you all can send them to people for Christmas gifts. So when you all see people whose attitudes aren't that good, just tell them you might need to write. They won't know what you're talking about, but you will. And it will help you to just chuckle and keep right on going and rise above whatever fray, whatever stuff, whatever undercurrent that they are trying to get started for the day. It will help you to rise above all of that. And what else do I suggest you all in terms of finding purpose? Take time for yourself. Because what is my purpose is a question that is not easily answered. It takes time and it takes reflection. And you can't run from that question. When you spend all of your time running from one commitment to the other, you never have time to just sit quietly and reconnect with yourself. One of my friends says to me, Cutler, I've got to check in with myself. Make sure that you schedule enough personal time for you, with you. Because life can drain you. And when you feel depleted and empty, searching for meaning, you just have to take a time and check in on you. Have a meeting with you and learn how to take deep breaths and center yourself. Learn how to involve in self-care. I don't care what that looks like. It looks like different things for different people. For some people, it may be going to a spa. For some people, it may be reading, sitting in the park reading. For some people, it may be taking a bike ride. You won't understand how to find your purpose without first taking a step back, spending time with yourself and learning how to relax. Let me say that again. You will not understand how to find your purpose without first taking a step back, spending time with yourself and learning how to relax. I only got 1,800 seconds, you all, so I've got to keep going. MP, you said I remember better when I use color paper. Use color paper. Miss Evelyn said hello. Yes, and smiling. I always smile when I think of you, Miss Evelyn. But learn to take time for you. Don't become so involved in other people's lives until you lose yourself in their life, and you lose yourself in their purpose, and you lose yourself in their dreams, and you lose yourself in their hopes, and you lose yourself in their ambitions, and you lose yourself in their visions. Because what is going to happen when you go to look for yourself, you won't find you because you're lost in somebody else. I'm telling you. I'm looking at these notes. Jay Song for you says, let them know they just learned a Post-it note. When people encounter you, just remember, listen, I just wrote something down, and you're getting the better part of me because I wrote something down this morning. Paula says, I needed to write on Legal Pad today when the car dealer didn't order a part and told me it was there. Paula, I will tell you this. Car dealers will make us write a whole lot of stuff. People that we do business with will cause us to have to look back at what we wrote early in the morning. I'm telling you, when you go to a car dealership, you might want to write a whole lot. When you get ready to do business with some people, you may want to write a whole lot because it will help you to stay centered. Cutler, what else would you suggest to us in terms of finding purpose? Learn how to embrace acceptance. And what does that mean? Part of finding purpose is accepting your own limitations. I know it's wonderful and it's grand for us to think that we can do so much, but we cannot do everything. We have to learn how to accept our limitations. And as we're learning how to accept our limitations, you all, can I tell you what we need to do? Exercise self-compassion. Be patient with yourself. I can't do everything. I'm not capable of doing everything. I know a lot of times we say, oh, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Well, it depends on your creative mind, because my creative mind will never tell me that I can fly off of a building. That's just an exaggerated example. But learn how to accept your limitations. Instead of getting frustrated with yourself, just give yourself a break. Because maybe it's just a limitation now. Maybe you're not strong enough to do it now or yet. So don't get frustrated. Give yourself a break. Get to know yourself bit by bit, little by little. Sometimes you have to step back and take the role of an objective observer, even in your own life. Let me step back and see, how am I living my life? Let me step back and see, what would I say to someone who's living the life that I'm living now? Would I give them patience? Would I give them compassion? And if that's the case, give it to yourself. Give it to yourself. Because feeling lost in life and not being able to accept your limitations, feeling lost in life will cause you to feel very disoriented. It will cause you to feel frustrated. And one of the worst things that can happen in life is to become frustrated with yourself. Here's another thing, you all. I think I maybe have just one or two more. But in terms of finding purpose, find your community. Purpose is usually connected to somebody. So finding purpose in life is often about discovering where you fit in. And you tend to know when you've met your people. You feel at home. You feel relaxed. You feel at ease. And you feel able to be yourself, your true, your organic, your authentic self. So learn to find your community. What does that mean, Cutler? It means sometimes you may just join a volunteer group. Take a class. Find others who enjoy the same things that you do. The same books, the same music, the same plays, the same interest. One person said, you are who your friends are. And it's true. Your community is a reflection of you. One person said to me, you want to know how people lived? Look at who carried their casket. That's a morbid way of thinking about it. You want to know how people lived? Look at who carried their casket. You are who your friends are. So learn to find your community and be pleased and happy with the community that you find. The only other thing that I can suggest to us, you all, in terms of finding purpose is this: be flexible, be adaptable. One of the hardest parts of learning how to find your purpose is letting go of old things, letting go of old entities, letting go of old identities, letting go of old interests, letting go of old people that no longer serve us. Got to learn how to let go. Having said that, may I thank you all for your time. Thank you for allowing me to come into whatever space you've allowed me to come. Do me a favor. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Keep your heads up. Keep your hopes up. You all stay safe, stay sane. And until the next time you see me, please know that from your heart to mine, there is and always will be so much love. Let's keep finding purpose. Good night.